Hi, thanks for joining us today to a developer's introduction to ArcGIS platform. My name is David Cardella. I'm joined here by Ewan Cameron, and we're going to take you through some of the fundamentals of a new developer product that we recently launched, ArcGIS platform. So ArcGIS itself is open to developers, and it allows you as developers to create customized workflows, whether you're extending and or automating ArcGIS or you're creating new apps to complement other components of ArcGIS. We've got several tools available to you. For example, the Pro SDK to extend ArcGIS Pro by creating custom add-ins. Also, the Enterprise SDK allows you to customize Enterprise through the creation of SOIs and SOEs, and also the automation of mapping and analysis through our Python API. Now, we've got several client APIs that also allow you to build applications. These applications can extend ArcGIS or they can be completely standalone. We've got our JavaScript API as well as several runtime SDKs, and we even support popular open source mapping libraries as well that you can leverage in your development. Over the last couple of years, we have noticed some trends, specifically around developers and solution development. Developers have become much more influential within their organizations. Sometimes developers are the decision makers themselves, and other times they have a lot of influence over the person making the technology decisions for various organizations. So developers have really become a lot more influential. They want, in terms of location, they want their content and data exposed as a set of services. They want to be able to do that and use these services kind of in an on-demand environment or an on-demand way without having to invest in a full technology stack. To many developers, open source is important. It gives them the control and flexibility that they need during the development process, whether that be to create new capabilities or to fix bugs. And they don't want to be beholden to a technology companies' release timeline. Some development and some development shop and some developers may want to use their own client technology. They want to be able to leverage the investment that they've already made in their solution by using the current library that they've chosen, and they want some location to complement their solution or their workflow. In many cases, what we've seen is that the form of the API is more important than the actual features that it has. What do we mean by this? Well, an API can be quite performant and it can have a lot of capabilities. It can be really rich in capabilities. However, if that particular API doesn't integrate well within the framework that the developer wants to build in or within their development environment, they are less likely to choose that API regardless of how powerful it is. Ultimately, though, what we've seen is that developers want a simple and easy to understand business model, a business model that is transparent, and it actually reduces the friction of entry. So it doesn't provide an obstacle to using the technology. And so a few months ago, we released a brand new product for developers, and this was in response to some of these trends that we were seeing. This product is called ArcGIS Platform. It's a location platform as a service product, and it's designed to bring very powerful mapping and location capabilities to you and actually to the global developer community. And it does this by giving you frictionless access to our location capabilities and content as a set of standalone services that you can access very easily and very intuitively. ArcGIS Platform is made up of three elements. The first is an excellent developer experience to help you be successful by giving you access to a choice of APIs that come with platform, or perhaps open source APIs that you are already using or prefer to use. The next element and the centerpiece of ArcGIS Platform is a comprehensive set of industry-leading location services that include a wide variety of content and capabilities. And finally, the final element is a transparent and easy to understand business model. So let's take a look at each one of these elements in a little bit more detail. The first element is the developer experience, and ArcGIS Platform provides a premium developer experience where you can use your preferred mapping API. Platform comes with a very robust JavaScript API for web development, a set of APIs for mobile and desktop development, as well as scripting APIs that enable you to automate your mapping and analytics. So these APIs are fully featured, and they're engineered from the ground up to exploit the full capabilities of that ArcGIS Platform has to offer. For example, they leverage the GPU and the device hardware for very performant drawing and analytics. We've got a client-side geometry engine in these APIs that include an SQL API for querying features in memory, both spatially but also through attribute queries, and thus minimizing trips back and forth to the server. They also have direct support for a large number of different data formats like GeoJSON, various OGC formats, KML, vector tiles, and many image formats as well. Our native APIs support offline capabilities where you can download maps to your device and work completely offline as if you were fully connected. The APIs come with a set of widgets as well as native components that help you build apps quite quickly. In addition to the APIs that come with Platform, though, you can also use your own APIs. This allows you to leverage the investment you've already made in your work without having to migrate or re-engineer your solution to use a different mapping library. And we support popular open source mapping libraries like Leaflet, OpenLayers, and Mapbox GL.js. And with the work we've done to enhance the back-end services, you'll be able to use these libraries and pivot to our location services with just a couple of lines of code. And later on in this tech session, we're going to show you a demonstration of that. Probably, though, the best part of this is that these libraries, whether it's the libraries that come with Platform or perhaps the third-party open source mapping libraries you might be using, they're fully supported. So this means that in addition to the support that you might be getting from the developer community, you can also contact us directly and take advantage of a team of developer support analysts that are specialized in this product. And that team is a global team. So the choice of mapping library is yours. Whichever one you choose, though, you'll be able to leverage the power of the location services that are exposed through ArcGIS Platform. All the services offered through Platform, though, require authentication, and we give you a variety of token-based authentication options to choose from, including OAuth, which we've supported in ArcGIS for many years. Now, when we launched ArcGIS Platform, we introduced a new option for authentication called API keys. These API keys are industry standard, they're easy to implement, and can be scoped to specific services. And for some of you, API keys will be the preferred option. However, API keys aren't for everyone. You may want to continue using OAuth because you already have a solution that is tightly integrated within your ArcGIS Online organization, for example. And that solution already leverages and uses OAuth. Or perhaps you prefer the additional security that OAuth provides over API keys. So ArcGIS Platform, what we wanted to do in the area of authentication is basically give you the flexibility to make the choices based on your needs. And that could include effort to implement, ease of use, as well as the level of security. But regardless of which choice you make, we've got you covered when it comes to authentication. When you visit the developer site, you'll find a library of resources and tools to help you be successful. And you'll also notice we've made some significant improvements. For example, we've got a brand new developer guide. This guide is your authoritative source no matter what you're doing with ArcGIS, whether you're using our builder technology or you're extending or automating ArcGIS Pro or Enterprise. This guide will be your go-to source. Additionally, the developer site has extensive SDK and documentation that includes both conceptual and reference as well as API documentation for all of our mapping libraries that come with ArcGIS platform. There's also documentation on how to use our location services with those third-party mapping libraries that I discussed earlier. The developer site itself includes well over 100 tutorials. It's got a live sandbox so that you can code against them and see updates instantly. And finally, another big new item of the developer website is that it includes a completely new developer dashboard. The developer dashboard, this newly designed developer dashboard, is designed to accelerate your onboarding by giving you a more personalized experience where you can easily access just the resources you're interested in. So, for example, if you're a web developer, we'll make the web JavaScript API documentation accessible to you at your fingertips. Of course, you still have access to all of our other great documentation as well, but we make the documentation that you use most often most readily available to you. So you can tailor the dashboard based on the technology that you use. We also provide additional controls and insight, additional controls to give you insight into the usage of your solution. The developer dashboard comes with detailed information at the transaction level for all the services that your solution or solutions are using. And so this gives you full transparency into the usage of the services, but also into the health of your product. So that was kind of a high-level rundown of the developer experience, but I think the best way to experience the developer site is to actually see a demonstration of it. And for that, I'd like to hand it over to Ewan.
Thanks, David. What we're looking at is the homepage for developers.arcgis.com. This is the website that you will come to if you're a developer working with ArcGIS system. And often you're coming to it to get access to the help resources available. And because of that, they're right up front. You can get access to the new Mapping APIs and Services guide. You can get access to guides for building applications with the templates and builders, or there's a guide for when you're working with ArcGIS add-ins and automation. Now, you come to this page, you can learn obviously through the documentation about all the capabilities, and we'll take a look at that later. There's a features page, but there's a brand new pricing page, and this pricing page is really specific to ArcGIS platform and the costs of the services. This page not only tells you how much the services cost, but it also acts as a pricing calculator. So as I change the estimated number of base map tiles, you can see the total at the top of the page changes. And maybe I'm going to do some geocoding, and if it's more than my 20,000 free tier, it'll again update the pricing page. Now, when it comes to base map layers, we charge based on tile transactions. And if you're not exactly sure how many tile transactions would be involved in your typical application, you can make use of the new Tile Estimator tool. When it loads up, it loads a base map, and you can choose the base map of your choice from the selection that we have as part of ArcGIS platform. You can pick the API that you're using. In this case, it's the API for JavaScript from ArcGIS, and even the number of users that you're anticipating. And then you can start to interact with the map. And as you pan and zoom around the map, zooming in and zooming out, you can see here the number of tiles that have been consumed. So that's 54 tiles from my 2 million free tier that I've just consumed. So this will allow you to make fairly good estimates on the typical usage of your applications, which you can then plug into the pricing calculator. Now, if you go back to the home page, when you want to sign up to ArcGIS Platform, it's as easy as creating an account. And you can click the call to action button here. You can create a brand new account, or you can link it to an existing social account. Very few questions need to be asked before you can create your developer account. And once you've created that account, it'll drop you straight into your developer dashboard. Now, I've previously created one, so I'm just going to sign into my account. And you can see here, it takes me directly to my developer dashboard. This is, if you like, my homepage on the developer's website. It gives me all the information I need to get my work done, and also to see how my applications are performing that I've already deployed. There's a getting started section here. There's information specifically about the API that I'm interested in working with. There's my API keys and OAuth logins can be managed here. By default, we hide the keys, but we can show them. If we just toggle this button, and I can copy that key because I'm going to use that later. I can also get some information on my account, the type of account that I have, whether I've got pay-as-you-go enabled, my current monthly bill, if you like. And so all of this is hosted in my dashboard. What I'd like to do now is jump to the documentation page. Now, this page introduces our high-level developer guides. These developer guides really act as a one source of truth when it comes to working with a particular aspect of the ArcGIS system, as well as direct jumps to all the other individual guides depending on the work that you're doing with ArcGIS. So let's have a look at the new ArcGIS Platform Mapping APIs and Services guide. Takes me straight into the starting page. You can see I've got a great set of tutorials. There's a large number of these tutorials which cover all aspects of working with ArcGIS Platform. There's a nice introduction about ArcGIS Platform itself. And then there's a list of the APIs that you can use when you're working with the platform. Now, David said we now support open source libraries, and they're really promoted here as first-class citizens of the ArcGIS platform. We've got ArcGIS API for JavaScript as a web API, but we also have other examples. Here's Mapbox GLJS. So if I click here, it takes me straight into a dedicated guide specific for developers working with GLJS. It covers important aspects such as key concepts. We've got, again, a list of all the tutorials that have been written, and there's a number of tutorials. But perhaps the first thing you might want to do is start working with a map. So let's have a look at the Display a Map section. At the top of every page in the guide, there's often a live example that you can see how it's working. But the guide pages follow a similar structure. There's information about how you can build an example, and at the bottom there's a number of other topics or tutorials that are appropriate. But if I'm interested to see how this example works, I can always choose to view the code in CodePen. And this goes for all of our live examples. So if I open it up in CodePen, you can see that it's loading the libraries from GLJS. It's a little bit of HTML scaffolding there. And you can see it's creating a new map. Now nothing's appearing on the screen, and that's because I've not entered my API key. Now you remember I copied that from my dashboard earlier. I'm going to paste that into my application, and as soon as I do that, the application comes alive. And so now we can see an ArcGIS Platform base map running directly inside a GLJS client. Very simple and easy to do. So I'm just going to leave that. Now that was using one of the APIs, but the dev guide goes much more than just talking about a little bit of API usage. It goes into great depth talking about key areas of the platform, whether it's our mapping and the vast array of base maps that we have, or the ability to data host, or maybe you're interested in some of the advanced visualization that's possible, or maybe more some of the commodity services like searching by doing geocoding and routing, etc. One chapter before I close out that I really want to draw your attention to is the security and authentication chapter. We've introduced a new method of authentication with API keys. But of course, ArcGIS identity and application credentials are still there. So you've now got choices as a developer. If you click the introductory page, this is a great resource and it'll help you make the right choice of authentication method based on the work that you're doing. And so if you've got a question on ArcGIS authentication or API keys or OAuth application credentials, you'll find the answer to it in the authentication chapter within the developer guide. And with that, I'd like to pass it back to David.
Thanks, Ewan. That was a really good demo of some of the new components of the developer experience. Moving on to the second element of ArcGIS platform, and that is the collection of location services. Now, these are the same services that some of you have been building on for years. We've just made it easier to access and integrate them into your solutions. They're available as a set of on-demand services, allowing you to leverage extensive content and capabilities. And this includes everything from base maps to data hosting and visualization, as well as commonly used capabilities like geocoding and routing. And you can even go further with additional content and spatial analytics. These services can be used in many different deployment patterns, including for the web, for mobile devices, or desktops. And they can be used online and offline and indoors as well as outdoors. We have regionally hosted our services in data centers around the world to give you the best performance. So let's spend a few minutes looking at some of these services individually. The first is base maps. And this includes a set of ready-to-use authoritative maps that can be used by the API of your choice. And this includes dozens of pre-styled maps designed by our team of cartographers that include neutral background maps to rich foreground maps, or maps that emphasize the human geography like streets or the physical geography like topography. And there are other maps blended with elevation that give you an additional dimension of information. And if you want something completely different, you can use our style editor and design a custom style that best suits your needs. You can also host your data in ArcGIS platform. And hosting your data is not like storing a flat file in the cloud. Yes, you can do that with ArcGIS platform, but hosting your data is much more. When you do that, we create a service based on your data, allowing you to visualize, edit, and analyze your authoritative content in the same way that you would access and analyze and use content that we host. And so when you host your content, like could be GeoJSON, could be spreadsheets or shape files or text files, but when you host those data types in ArcGIS platform, it's secure, it's scalable, it's performant, and it's supported really seamlessly within the API of your choice. And this data can be accessed as features, as vector and image tiles, as well as GeoJSON. And one of the most important or exciting things about this is that your data remains your data. We don't ask you to give up ownership of it. We don't collect telemetry data from your users. It does remain your data. ArcGIS platform also has powerful data visualization tools that allow you to visualize your data in unique ways. This is actually one of the strengths of ArcGIS platform. We give you the tools to make beautiful maps that allow you to discover patterns and relationships within your data. So as developers, you have access to many capabilities, like being able to take data and quickly render features with dozens of options in terms of visualization. You can also visualize your data in 2D or 3D with 3D models of buildings, landscapes, cities, or even 3D models of that span the entire globe. And through a technique called smart mapping, you can take the guesswork out of setting your map properties by having our smart mapping technology automatically analyze your data and make data-driven suggestions, styling suggestions for you, and also make some intelligent suggestions in terms of default mapping suggestions. So smart mapping can be used both against 2D as well as 3D data. Geocoding and search. So the ability to find addresses and points of interest is common in most mapping applications. And our geocoding service is powered by really industry-leading reference data that comes from multiple authoritative sources. It comes from commercial data providers, government agencies, and also our network of partners from around the world. And this ensures that you get the most accurate search results. Our search services, our geocode service, also supports local languages and address formats as well. Next, there's routing, which also includes the ability to get turn-by-turn directions, but ultimately routing and directions help increase the overall efficiency of your daily workflows. So in addition to the common point-to-point routing, you can also route multiple vehicles to multiple destinations. And like the geocoding service, the routing service has global coverage and localized directions as well. The route solver also takes into consideration many other factors like current traffic conditions and dozens of restriction types like U-turns, barriers, time windows, travel modes, as well as order of stops. It can also calculate drive time areas as well as find closest facilities and also generate origin destination matrices. In addition to the capabilities we've just discussed, you also have access to an extensive data library that includes demographic and statistical data like income, spending, and market segmentation. You can use these data services directly within your app, or you can enrich or join your data with these data sources. An ArcGIS platform also has many real-time live feeds like traffic, current weather patterns, and also recent events such as flooding and wildfires and other natural disasters. You also have access to high-res imagery from multiple commercial and community providers that gives you more than just a static picture. It includes access to a historical collection of imagery where you can see changes over time as well as perform analysis. And while we're on the subject of analysis, you also have available to you hundreds of spatial analytics tools and operators to help you create understanding of your data, from geometric processing to attribute and spatial queries, as well as supporting interactive analytical operations on both 2D as well as 3D data. So you can make use of spatial analytics really in two ways. First is on the client side by leveraging the power of the device resources. You can build very highly interactive user experiences. And secondly, we also run analytics on the server where the tools sit right next to your data. And if you need even more analytics, you can also work with the big data, real-time analytics, advanced spatial tools, machine learning, and deep learning capabilities provided by the rest of the ArcGIS system. The third and final element of ArcGIS Platform is the business model. So getting access to Platform is pretty easy. You can simply go to the developer site and create a free developer account. So in addition to the excellent developer experience that we've discussed and the extensive set of location services, you'll also get a pretty generous free tier of service transactions to help kickstart your development. And this includes 2 million map tiles per month, as well as thousands of other service requests for searching, for routing, for being able to store store and host your own content. It's fully consumption based, and you'll find that because it's fully consumption based, the business model is completely transparent. It's easy to understand, and really you'll only pay for what you use, and that's regardless of which API you develop with, whether you develop with the APIs that come with platform or you develop with the API of your choice. And this is also the same case regardless of the authentication method you choose either. Now I'd like to hand it over to Ewan, who's going to discuss the process of pivoting to our location services from your existing applications. Ewan?
Thanks, David. So let's talk about switching to ArcGIS Platform. And why might you want to do that? Well, there's a number of reasons. You might actually have existing ArcGIS apps that are pointing to services coming from ArcGIS Online, but because of the new business model, you'll be updating them to point to services coming from ArcGIS Platform. Well, the great news is the services that ArcGIS Platform provides, they have the same REST signature as the services from ArcGIS Online. So it's really quite simple for you to change. You literally change the URL that you're pointing to, and in many cases, things will just work with that one change. Now, in the case of base maps and GeoSearch, because these are now authenticated, you'll have to start passing in a token to these calls. And that could be an API key or a token that you've generated through an OAuth workflow. But to pivot your existing ArcGIS apps over to Platform, really pretty straightforward. Now, we know that many of your organizations, they actually make use of multiple mapping solutions. You use ArcGIS, obviously, and you use that for maybe some of the GIS-specific workflows, but maybe for some consumer-focused workflows, maybe it's a store finder or some other lightweight mapping problem that had to be solved. The group that decided to build it actually used the competing technology to ArcGIS Platform. And these decisions that they make, they're maybe based on capabilities, or maybe they were based on the business model because they like the transaction business model more than an end user, for instance. Or maybe the developers just had a preference of using an open source library. There's lots of reasons why these decisions get made, but it led them down the path of using another mapping library technology and also a different set of mapping services. Well, we all know that ArcGIS services, they're the best in terms of the support for the quality of the base maps or the quality of the geocoding, etc. So it's actually in everybody's interest to start using them. And the great news is that we've built into ArcGIS Platform the ability to use these other open source libraries, OpenLayers, Leaflet, Mapbox, GLGS, and we'll consider more in the future based on needs. And it's really quite simple to pivot that client code over to use the services from ArcGIS Platform. So this approach really does leverage your organization's investment in building out client technology. With a small change, you can leverage all that previous investment and you can now sit on top of services coming from ArcGIS Platform. Now, earlier today, I showed an example of using GLGS just within the developer guide, but I think it's probably better seen doing this for real with a real example. And for that, I'd like to pass it over to Anita from the Dev Experience team, and she's going to show us how easy it is to pivot to the ArcGIS Platform. Over to you, Anita.
Thanks, Ewan. Mapbox GLJS is a great open source mapping API, and it may be your preferred option. So I want to show you how easy it is to use ArcGIS Platform services through this library. This app displays the locations and the varying conditions of trees in the Portland area. For instance, the greens represent that the trees are in relatively good condition as compared to these yellows or this red. However, this app could be improved. First, the base map style isn't really what I'm going for. Second, the features that you currently see on the map don't tell the whole story. There are over 200,000 features in this feature layer, but due to the scalability of GeoJSON, they're not being able to fully render efficiently on the client. So let's go to the source code to improve this application. I'm going to replace my existing Mapbox API key with my ArcGIS API key. Next, I'm going to specify one of the 25 basemap enumerations available to me from the ArcGIS platform. Let's try streets first. Finally, I'll update the style URL to access the ArcGIS basemap layer service. However, I do need to make two key adjustments. First, let me make sure that the basemap enumeration that I've set, as well as the API key that I've set, are going to be appended to that URL. When I run my application, that streets basemap is now loaded onto the map. This is good, but let's try another one. Let's try ArcGIS light gray. It's better, the colors definitely pop. Let's try one more. Let's try ArcGIS dark gray. The colors are really vibrant, but this still isn't the theme I'm going for. I want a base map that maybe has green in it. So I need to create my own base map style. To do that, I'll go to my developer dashboard that's in the developer website. Clicking Layers, Create Data, and then New Vector Base Map Style will direct me to the Vector Tile Style Editor. I'll choose light gray canvas as a starting point. Once I'm at the editor, I can either randomize the colors, change the colors layer by layer, update the fonts, and other aspects of this base map. When I'm happy with those changes, I'll save it and then access that layer information in my developer dashboard. By using the item ID and replacing the current enumeration with it, I'll be able to load that new style onto my map. Now that I have the base map exactly as I want it, let's move on to the data. This data set contains over 200,000 features, and the scalability of GeoJSON is an issue. To solve this issue, I want to use a vector tile set. So I'm going to delete all this code that references GeoJSON, including right here. And instead, I'm going to scaffold out the code needed to access a vector tile layer. The question is, where does that URL come from? Well, when I import data in supported formats such as CSV, GeoJSON, or shapefile to the ArcGIS platform, I create a hosted service. For instance, I imported my shapefile of trees to the platform and created a hosted feature service. I was then able to style the layer using the Map Viewer tool. However, for the feature service to be consumed efficiently from the GLJS client, I need to use a vector tile layer. Luckily, with the new capability of the feature service, I can do just that. I can publish my current feature layer as a new vector tile layer, and any of those stylings that I have in that current feature layer will be in that vector tile layer as well. I just need to choose the fields I want to publish, so the condition, and maybe the common name of the tree, so that would be maple or oak, and click Publish. Once that vector tile layer is generated, and it didn't take me too long, probably a few minutes, I'll be directed to the new item page. From the item page, this is where I can get the tile URL, which I will incorporate in my application. And then I can also choose any of the stylings that are currently in that vector tile layer and use that in my application as well. So let me specify some layer stylings, and then once I add those layers to the map, my data will be rendered so much faster. This is an improvement, but let's complete this application by using those attributes that I chose to publish with my vector tile layer. I'm going to create a pop-up that will display the names of some of the trees on my map. So now when I run my application, I can zoom in and see some of these tree names like pear, let's see, hawthorn, and maple. Using the tools and services provided to me from the ArcGIS platform, I was able to update this existing application and create a better user experience. Back to you, Ewan.
Thanks, Anita. That was a great example. Just with a little bit of change, you were able to take an application that really wasn't maybe performing at its best and really leverage the capabilities of the platform, not only to just consume a base map from our services, but a base map that you were able to style to a look and feel exactly the way you wanted it. But you also hosted your own content and were able to style that and then cook some vector tiles for easy consuming straight back into the GLJS client. So thanks again, Anita. And with that, we'll pass it back to you, David.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ewan and Anita. That was an excellent demonstration. So you're probably wondering, as an existing developer of the ArcGIS system, where ArcGIS Platform fits. And ArcGIS Platform allows you to continue to extend ArcGIS in the ways that you're already familiar with. For example, our SaaS offering, ArcGIS Online, includes many apps that allow users to experience and interact with it. When you build apps that complement ArcGIS Online, you're actually leveraging the technology of ArcGIS Platform. For example, you're using the developer experience and the services that Platform exposes. You're probably already leveraging OAuth as your authentication mechanism, so you're already using much of what ArcGIS Platform has to offer. Similarly, when you build a custom add-in or configuration in ArcGIS Pro, you often consume the location services exposed through ArcGIS Platform. And finally, many of you build apps that use ArcGIS Enterprise to host your data within your own infrastructure, and you also access services exposed through ArcGIS. So you're already using ArcGIS Enterprise and ArcGIS Platform together in your solution. Now, these are just some examples of how you might be already using some of the components of ArcGIS Platform to complement or to extend ArcGIS. In addition to that, though, Platform can also be used independently from the rest of ArcGIS. So ArcGIS Platform decouples the user experience of ArcGIS and allows you to access our location services in a much more open way as a set of on-demand services that you can easily swap in and out of your solutions without the need to invest in additional technology. So in addition to extending ArcGIS, with ArcGIS Platform you can build completely standalone applications where the end user may not know that Esri is providing location services. You can embed location intelligence into your existing apps and solutions, or you can deploy our location services within your organization's infrastructure by leveraging a system-to-system development pattern. So as you can see, ArcGIS Platform really underpins and powers much of what we do in ArcGIS. Another way to look at it is this way. So we support many different types of services-based development now. Many of you have, as I mentioned, have customized ArcGIS Enterprise, and your business model there really is users and cores, and you're using a developer experience and the location services that other developers within the ArcGIS ecosystem are using. You may be complementing or extending ArcGIS Online with custom applications that really integrate very tightly into Online. And in that scenario, you're licensing your solution via users as well as credits. Well, ArcGIS Platform not only delivers the developer experience and the location services that other service-based development leverages, but ArcGIS Platform comes with its own business model. It's purely consumption-based, and it's designed to allow you just to use the services that you need and to deliver capabilities and content to end users who really may not be ArcGIS customers, in that they may not have ArcGIS Online, they may not have ArcGIS Enterprise. So, as an existing developer who may have extended ArcGIS, why would you use ArcGIS Platform? Well, really what we're seeing is Platform provides new opportunities, and we're seeing these new opportunities come to light in the following requirements. Oftentimes you might just need just a little bit of location intelligence to complement a solution, so you're not really building per se a map-centric application, but you've got an application that can use some location to complement it. We hear this a lot. I just need some vector tiles and a bit of geocoding, and really that's it. It's pretty simple. And so we wanted to be able to allow you as developers to access just what you need, whether it's vector tiles, whether it's geocoding, whether it's a route or two, and just use that very simply in your solutions. And you can do this without having to buy into a full technology stack. Oftentimes as well, developers, they want to use other mapping libraries in addition to some of the libraries that they might be using from ArcGIS platform. And so we wanted to support and leverage and allow users to leverage their existing investments. So ArcGIS platform is a good choice for those who want to use their own mapping libraries. And some folks have a solution really in addition to their GIS solutions that really call for more of a different business model that's purely consumption based, that doesn't deal in credits and deals in dollars. You see here bill downstream. Oftentimes a lot of our customers have different business units within their organization, and these business units act really as different organizations within the larger organization. And they want to provide apps internally to the other business units within the organization, but also build them for their usage. So we're seeing that pattern as well, and ArcGIS platform really fits the bill there too. But regardless of the reason for needing ArcGIS platform, in addition to what you're already doing, when you use ArcGIS platform, you're really developing against the services that you're already familiar with. ArcGIS platform just gives you an easier way to access them, a bit of a different model, and opens up opportunities and deployment patterns. So I wanted to thank you for spending the time with us today in this session. We take your feedback seriously, so please click on the session survey link below this video recording, and we'd love to get your feedback. Thanks very much for spending the time with us.